You see the role, you read the job description, and you think, that's me. The domain, the level, the problems they need solved. You've done exactly this before. You tailor your resume, you hit submit, and then nothing. No callback, no screening call, just silence. And it's not happening once, it's happening over and over again. Roles that you're genuinely well suited for, roles where you could walk in on day one and drive impact, and you can't even get an interview. So you start wondering, is it the market? Is it just me? Is there something broken in my resume that I just can't see? I'm Shobit Chugh, founder of Intentional Product Manager, where we've helped over 1,000 product managers land dream roles at companies like Google, Meta, Amazon, Coinbase, Stripe, and many more with 30 to 50% salary increases. And I can tell you, after coaching hundreds to over 1,000 product managers through this exact frustration, the problem is almost never your qualifications. It's that you're playing the wrong game entirely. Here's what actually happened. While you're submitting applications through job portals, LinkedIn, and hoping someone connects the dot on why you're a great fit, other product managers who are no more qualified than you, are getting pulled into conversations with hiring managers before they ever review any of those online applications. Now, these product managers, they're not better than you. They're just playing a completely different game. And once you understand how that game works, you'll never go back to competing with hundreds of other applicants again. Let's start with the biggest misconception in product management careers right now. Most ambitious product managers think career growth comes from finding better roles online and applying to them. Polish your resume, you tailor the cover letter, you run it through ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and you hit submit and you wait. But here's what nobody tells you. Many senior PM roles are filled through internal network before they go to anybody who applied online. And for the posted roles, hiring managers often already have preferred candidates in mind. That posting you're checking out, you're excited about, that you're applying online to, it might just be a formality, a checkbox they need to check for compliance. Think about what that means for a second. You're competing against hundreds of other qualified applicants for each posted role. Hundreds, maybe even 1,000 or more for some of the better roles. Now, people with similar experience, similar background, similar bullet points on their resume, and everybody's running it through ChatGPT, so everybody's resume looks the same, sounds the same, and the most desirable opportunities, those are often filled through warm introductions and referrals long before you even see them reaching out to anyone who applied on LinkedIn, on Indeed, or even the company's own job portal. Here's what I've observed working with over 1,000 product managers. These posted roles, they're just a backup. The backup option when internal candidates or referred candidates don't work out. So if you're building your entire career strategy around online applications, as some people, you're even hiring other people to go and do these online applications for you, you're playing a game where the odds are stacked against you from the very start. Look, I've seen strong PMs, really strong PMs, spend 6, 8, even 12 months applying to roles where they were never the primary consideration. Not because they weren't qualified, not because their resume was bad, but because someone else was already in the conversation before the job posting went live. And that is a brutal realization, but it's also a liberating one, because once you understand this, you can stop banging on the front door here and find the back door. Now, here's what's really going on behind the scenes. And this is something I wish someone had told me earlier in my career. There are 2 tiers to how product management hiring actually works, and most people don't even realize it. Tier 1 consists of preferred candidates. These are the people who get warm introductions and direct access to hiring managers. They're having conversations about the role before it's ever posted. They're being pulled into opportunities because someone in their network said, you need to talk to this person. They know how to do this job. They solved this exact problem before. And tier 2 is the online application pool. That's everyone else. Submitting resumes, going through screening calls with recruiters, waiting to hear back, competing with 300, 500, sometimes 1,000 other applicants. Now, let me be clear about why this distinction matters so much. Hiring managers prefer candidates who come recommended by people they trust. And that's not unfair. That's just how human decision-making works. When I was hiring at any of my startups, when I was considering candidates at Google, when someone I respect or even one of my coworkers who I might not have known said, this person is exceptional, you need to talk to them, that carried infinitely more weight than any resume ever because it lowered the risk of the decision for me. Think about it from the hiring manager's perspective. They have 3 a.m. problem. Their team is under-resourced. Their roadmap is slipping. They don't know what the true customer problems are. Stakeholders are breathing down their neck. They need someone who can walk in and solve specific problems fast. Are they going to trust the anonymous resume that passed through an ATS filter? Or are they going to trust the person that their trusted colleague said, this person has solved the exact same problem. They're an amazing PM. They're in the top 5% of product managers I've worked with. You should talk to them. These preferred candidates often have informal conversations before the formal interview processes even begin. And they already understand the problems the team is facing. They already know what the hiring manager cares about. And when they enter the formal process, these preferred candidates typically have shorter, more focused interviews because there's already a foundation of trust and belief. In fact, one of the candidates I worked with who went to Meta, the hiring manager actually guided them through the entire process because they trusted them. They were like, hey, let me help you out. Not giving you an unfair advantage, but at least let me give you some information on how this process works and how to succeed. Let me coach you. Now, the best product management roles consistently go to people who are already known within the hiring manager's network. Here's the question you need to sit with. Are you building relationships proactively or are you competing reactively with everyone else? Because if you're only submitting online applications, you're firmly in Tier 2. And Tier 2 is where careers stall. Now, before we talk about how to break into Tier 1, we need to address the foundation that makes everything else work. And this is the thing that 95% of product managers completely overlook. It's what we call your angle of mastery. See, here's the problem. Most product managers try to network, try to build relationships, try to get referrals, but they do it without clear positioning. They're out there saying, hey, I'm a product manager with 10 years of experience in B2B, B2C, and B2B2C. I'm looking for my next opportunity. And that creates absolutely zero picture in anyone's mind. It's what we call a Me Too pitch. You sound like every other PM on the market. Your angle of mastery is the intersection of your greatest impact, the type of problems you consistently solve, and what the market values right now. It's not about what you've done. It's about what problems you solve and for whom. Let me give you an example. A bad pitch. I'm an experienced product leader with 12 years in B2B SaaS. Okay, that tells me not much. Winning pitch. I specialize in taking SaaS products with product market fit from early traction to scale. I've done it 3 times. The last time I did it, I drove a 40% increase in net revenue retention by redesigning the entire onboarding and activation flow. And I can see from your product that you're hitting the exact same inflection point. See the difference? One is a generic resume headline. The other is a solution statement, one that recognizes the problem that they would have. One gets scanned, the other one gets a meeting, gets immediate attention. Now, the biggest challenge with your angle of mastery is what I call the self-strength recognition fallacy. When you do something unique, something that genuinely moves the needle, you assume everyone else can do it. You normalize your own excellence. I've seen this hundreds of times. I'll be coaching someone and they'll say, well, nothing that special. But yeah, churn went down by 28%. And I'll stop them right there. Wait, what? You reduced churn by 28% and that just happened? Is that's normal to you? And they would probably say, yeah, everyone else does that. But they don't. They're normalizing their success. Look, your value isn't in the tools you use, the prioritization you did, the frameworks you follow. It's the problems you solved, the friction you removed, the momentum you created. But you've been conditioned to talk about tasks, not transformation. You need to flip that. What happened because you were there? What would have not happened had you not been there? When your angle of mastery is clear, everything else becomes easier. Your networking conversations have substance, your referrals carry weight, your outreach actually lands. Because you're not just another PM asking for a favor. You're a specific solution to a specific problem that you recognize that the company is going to have. That's what makes you memorable. Now look, if you're tired of being the qualified candidate who can't even get in the room, I've opened up a few strategy sessions where my team and you will map out exactly how to build your angle of mastery and position yourself so hiring managers already know your name before they go to all the online applications. Grab yours in the description while you're watching this. Now let's talk about networking. And I know the word networking makes a lot of people cringe. It sounds transactional. It sounds like going to events and exchanging business cards and a game of how many business cards can you collect. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is building genuine relationships with product leaders at target companies before you need anything from them. And this is where most product managers get it completely wrong. They wait until they see a job posting, then they scramble to find someone at the company, send a cold message saying, "Hey, can you refer me?" and wonder why it didn't work. Look, I used to get those messages all the time. I mean, even now, people genuinely reach out and I want to help them, and I used to want to help them. But I'm racking my brain trying to remember where we connected, who this person is. There's no context, there's no relationship, just an ask. And an ask without relationship is just noise. Here's what the tier 1 candidates, the preferred candidates, do differently. First, they network during non-hiring period. When there's no ask involved, it's incredibly easy to reach out. "Hey, I've been following the work your team is doing. I'd love to hear about the challenge you're facing in that space. Let's grab a 15-minute coffee chat." No ask, no agenda, just a genuine human conversation. And you could go above and say, "Look, I worked on similar problems. Maybe we could exchange notes." So you're also offering something. And when you do that consistently over weeks and months, by the time a role opens up, you're not a stranger. You're someone they want to bring in. They already know, they trust, they're right there. Second, they network at the right level. We've seen this in our data across thousands of product managers. Referrals from product leaders convert at a dramatically higher rate than referrals from peers in other functions. Now, if you're getting referrals from engineers and salespeople, that's okay. But if you can get it from senior PM, director of product, VP of product, depending on level you're applying to, even the hiring manager directly, your odds change dramatically. Third, they lead with value, not with something that they need or they want. They share a perspective on the company's product. They send a thoughtful 2-page product teardown. They record a quick Loom walkthrough and talk about what are the company's 3 opportunities, the 3 biggest risks. They contribute before they request. And that completely changes the dynamic. You go from being a job seeker to being a thought partner. And thought partners get invited into conversations that job seekers never get to see. Fourth, they create visibility through strategic content. Now, I'm not saying you have to become a LinkedIn influencer, but posting even occasionally about how you think, product problems, sharing frameworks, sharing lessons from different situations, adding value to other posts, that creates a credibility trail. So when a recruiter or hiring manager checks your profile, and they always do, it's not just another product manager. Your reputation precedes you. And they say, "Oh, this person gets it. We should talk to them." One of our clients, Akash, was struggling to get any interviews at all. After we helped him build a clear angle of mastery around specific problems he'd solved in fintech, and he started showing up in the right conversations, he went from 0 to about 6 to 8 inbound recruiter outreaches a week. He had to start turning recruiters away in London, which is a relatively small market. That's the power of positioning plus strategic networking. Let me tie all of this together, because these pieces, they don't work in isolation. They compound. When you have a clear angle of mastery, your networking conversations become magnetic. People remember you because you're specific. And when you network at the right level during non-hiring periods or before you want to be referred for a job, you build trust before it matters. And when you create strategic visibility, opportunities start finding you instead of you chasing them. And here's the shift that changes everything. You stop thinking like a job seeker and you start thinking like a product. You are the product. Your angle of mastery is your value proposition. Your signature narrative is your positioning. Your content and your LinkedIn are your landing pages. Your marketing messages, your warm relationships are your distribution channels. The product managers who accelerate fastest understand this. It's not about having the most experience. It's not about having the most certifications. It's about being the most trusted, the most clear, the most specific about the problems you solve. Your skills absolutely matter, but your positioning determines whether anyone ever notices them. I've seen this pattern play out hundreds of times. A product manager comes to us stuck, frustrated, applying everywhere, hearing nothing back. We help them clarify their angle of mastery, build a positioning narrative that actually resonates, and start activating the right relationships. And within weeks, the same person who couldn't get an interview is now fielding multiple conversations. And not just any conversations. Conversations with hiring managers at companies they're excited about. Same person, same skill, same experience. They're just playing a different game. Now, here's the reality. You can keep submitting online applications and hoping someone notices, or you can learn how the highest performing product managers actually accelerate their careers. I've opened up strategy sessions with my team where we'll audit your current positioning, help you identify the angle of mastery, and show you the exact framework to get into those conversations before the roles are even posted. This isn't about networking tips or resume tweaks. This isn't about keyword stuffing your way past an applicant tracking system. This is about becoming the obvious choice when opportunities arise. It's about building the positioning and the relationship so that when a hiring manager has a problem, your name is the first one that comes up. The link's in the description. Book yours now, because once you understand the system, you'll never go back to competing with hundreds of other applicants again. I've seen it change careers, I've seen it change lives, and I want that for you. And once you do that, make sure you watch this next video where I break down exactly how to create an irresistible angle of mastery that makes hiring managers want to talk to you. I'll see you there.